Fellas, I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 25 minutes.
All right.
And that is all that we have got today, because on the day, the day before Snowstorm is supposed to start, any day, it's fuck ice. Just to let people clear. Just listen.
Yeah.
On any day, it's fuck ice. On a day where, shit. Did I say Derrick Rose jersey about to be? It was hung tonight.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
On a day where I had so much to say, and then I forgot all about it. But this is a day. This is a day right here. This is the day we've been looking for quite some time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Lookout. This is an emergency podcast. Yes, we are still doing emergency pods. This is a day we've been waiting for since the impetus of this podcast. This podcast
limits have been broken.
Yes, the podcast was started to recap Dragon Ball Super, which was on its last week. So the coinciding of this podcast starting is with Dragon Ball Super ending. And officially 7 years, I feel like I'm finishing the story. I'm continuing the story. I'm surprised we've lasted this long. But this is an emergency pod because we have some news, ladies and gentlemen, that Dragon Ball Super will be returning. It's looking like 2027. It's looking like the Galactic Patrol saga. It is looking really, really good. I'm here. I'm not joined by LJ today. LJ is on a mission, possibly on the Galactic Patrol himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe Galactic Patrol and some booty. I don't know. I ain't gonna say.
He in the Lookout's Gundam.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's over there. But I am joined by, of course, AD. AD's in the building. What's up, AD?
Man, it's a whole lot of special. It's a special feeling, dog.
It's a special feeling tonight. I'm also joined by, of course, Dubsly, co-host, none other than Versace Vegeta himself. Jay is in the building. We couldn't have this without you, for sure.
There's no way. Like, I had to be here for this. Like, I literally dropped this news in the chat, and they're just like, "Is this real?" I'm like, "Bro, it's me."
I didn't. Well,
bro, come on, man.
I don't think you know how incredulous, like, how emotional, like, yeah. When you drop it, we shouldn't even have any.
I get it,
right?
But
of course,
it's super.
It's the moment that it's like, oh, it's actually happening.
Yes. It's natural to just be like, for real?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about it, like, we've been making jokes like Super never coming back.
Yeah.
It's never coming. They're never going to give it to us.
Shueisha just going, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They doing what they do.
We talked about it on our best and worst of anime last year, or no, rather earlier last year when we talked about Daima, in terms of like what happens within the future of Dragon Ball and why we're not getting the Moro arc and et cetera, and actually opened up my eyes to a lot of things. Of course, Jay breaking it down for all of us. But the fact we're getting it now, like, Jay, I want to, like, what does it mean that we're officially getting this arc animated in production now? What does this mean? Like, really?
Best case scenario, what this means is that we're not only getting Moro, we're also getting Granola, that art. Best case scenario, we also get an anime adaptation of Superhero, because unlike the original Super anime where we had to start with the movie adaptation, we know that movie takes place after these two arcs.
So explain the whole Shueisha thing one more time for anyone who isn't really familiar with the situation.
Prior to Akira Toriyama's death, Shueisha, the rights holders to the manga, had a conflict with Akio Ioku, who is the business owner that Toriyama handpicked to be the person who handles the Dragon Ball IP going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Akio Ioku creates Capsule Corporation Incorporated, like an actual company that's meant to handle the Dragon Ball IP. And Shueisha, the manga rights holder, is like, hang on, great that y'all are handling the games and the movies and all this stuff over there. There's this thing called the manga that we own. And unless you can get all that with us handled, that none of that other stuff can move forward, you know, such as like the anime. which is why we got a lot of like things that kind of were just stand-in animation or game tie-ins that were, it was like close enough, but not there, right? We never saw any sort of manga content pre, Universe Survival Saga. Sorry, post that in any games. Now that we have this anime, this basically says, hey, Shueisha has decided, yes, like everything is clear, like everything's good. The manga content can finally be animated.
That is everything that we've wanted for quite some time, right? Like Dragon Ball Super, you think about it when it ended 2018, really and don't get me wrong, Dragon Ball has continued to exist like post the 2018, but 2018 kind of coincides with the trajectory rise of anime just in general. When you think about where anime really started to rise, it was the release of the kind of like the new gen animes, talking about My Heroes, you talking about the Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, all this other stuff like that. But in terms of Attack on Titan, continuing to move on like that, Dragon Ball Super was a major kind of like, especially towards the Tournament of Power arc.
We're talking about that's the first Strike of the Flame.
Yeah.
Because it became Mexico City having that sold out event for Goku versus Jiren. This global event for the end of Dragon Ball Super, that was kind of like anime as a worldwide thing is here, right? And then you start to see that cascading effect. Demon Slayer Mugen Train 2 years later, right? Then we started getting JJK Zero, Chainsaw Man movie. You're absolutely right. The height of the end of Dragon Ball Super is I would say even the height of just Dragon Ball Super from the Future Trunks arc forward is kind of where we get to where we are today.
It is where kind of like word of mouth really came in about a lot of things with anime related, and folks really started talking about it. Folks started getting back into it. I mean, this podcast started because of it. The final days, 80, anything you want to contribute? Just all.
Here's the thing. It's also a great moment in that I think people, if you weren't there, you weren't there. Like, this is the type of thing where when Super was first airing, people don't remember that it was the anime first and then the manga. So now we have the opportunity to watch all of this manga content that was unadapted up until this point and not have to worry about pacing issues, structure, or anything like that. The one thing that I'm kind of fearful for, but not really, is that, how we talked about Superhero getting animated towards the end, but we're going to have to get Broly animated as well.
We don't. If they are saying that this is the Galactic Patrol saga, the same way that the manga did the last time on Dragon Ball and just gave us a couple of panels talking about Broly,
I wouldn't mind that.
I agree with you. A TV adaptation of Broly would be nice, but they don't have to, and that's what makes this one special.
Yeah. And it's the first time. It's seemingly the first time, right? Like we're getting arc by arc.
The first time ever with Dragon Ball that we're behind on arcs.
Right. Yeah. But just that this is like we've never had, we've had like the Cell Saga coming, but it was all part of this one series. Even Dragon Ball Super, it's all part of the Super series. All these sagas, all these arcs fit within the series. This is really like one of the first time Dragon Ball Super is like, we're getting this official arc from beginning.
Show. Yeah.
And not only just that, but it's worldwide now. Like, remember way back, like we had the Ocean dub or, Funimation or in early days, all of that was animated, but the manga had already ended. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time.
Is like literally the first time for the whole world. Because even if we're talking about Japan, dude, we hear y'all hear about it in subs like dubs like the manga was barely ahead of the anime when it was new in Japan, bro. Like they'd be maybe a month or two behind. This is literally the first time in history that Dragon Ball is multiple arcs ahead of the anime,
and kind of presenting as a standalone arc. I mean, it's similar to the One Piece kind of like how they're presenting the show now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it being like this weekly episodic show that you kind of have to continue, you have to add filler arc, you have to add so many different things, you have to extend it so long so it doesn't really catch up to the manga. Now you can kind of present it in this beginning to end story, similar to even Dragon Ball Daima, right? Dragon Ball Daima is like 22, 23 episodes. You can present that in this fashion. It's Dragon Ball at the end of the day. So people gonna you move your schedule for that shit. Whatever's in the Digimon Fusion Wars, whatever the hell it's going on right now, move it up, move it to the side, move it to the left, move it under it. We're moving these how many weeks it takes to animate this thing out of the way.
Toei has really figured it out. Like
AD. No, you're literally touching on it. Yes. No. Spit.
No, yeah, no. Go ahead.
The fact that like Toei has finally figured it out, and like it took them this long because they were the front runners for long running anime and like hundreds of episodes week after week. You know what I'm saying? Like One Piece had to finally end for this to like seemingly to be a thing, and now we get to have like, okay, we'll have One Piece coming like this. We'll take our time with this, and now we can have Dragon Ball in its own section, and we have the manga material to like catalog and backfall on, so that we can have this pipeline continuously running. Like they figured it out.
They're over the last year, it became incredibly, especially with the release of Daima, with the release of the latest game. There's also another game coming out, Age 1000. Which is interesting.
I need that.
It reminds me of another game that we never got, and just from the brief details, so basically there was a Dragon Ball Online game, like an MMO, came out in Korea back in 2009. A lot of the current details we see for modern Dragon Ball Xenoverse, like the people from the demon world and stuff like that, like those characters existed in that. A lot of the details we've gotten for the extended, half the stuff from Super Dragon Ball Heroes all comes from the Dragon Ball Online lore. This is literally that one last part where it dealt with characters that existed in the future that were descendants from humans and Saiyans that, they had their own adventures. This is literally just missing those parts.
I think this is set because it's Age 1000. I think it's set at least 200 years after the end of like a lot of the mainline Dragon Ball.
Yeah, just the same. Dragon Ball Online took place in the year 999. Like it was literally, this is a follow up to that,
right? Which is a great way to say we can include everything that's ever happened in this game.
Yes,
because it exists in the future. But I mean, with that said, kind of like rolling back to the Galactic Patrol arc of it all. This is, again, incredible news, I think, for any anime fan, at least. And when you talk about more so touching on where 80 with the IP and stuff like that, they get it. I mean, from the video game to Dragon Ball Daima and how that was kind of presented and kind of rolled out, it really does feel like they are very taking care of the Dragon Ball IP and saying, okay, there is clearly a demand for this, no matter what it is. Like Dragon Ball, it exists longer than Pokemon. I mean, we're on this 40th anniversary currently. And it can be kind of presented and treated in kind of a similar way. We can continue to make video games. We continue to make figures. We can continue to make anime. We can continue to do all these things. Now, it still continues to have the, I think a very big part of selling this continues, especially this and the next game, is that they continue to have like Akira Toriyama's, these are his characters. This is his vision. This is thing.
That Akira Toriyama presents.
Yes.
I loved seeing
We've
that.
never seen that before, really.
Right.
On anything that was Dragon Ball. We would see that on stuff like Sandland, side projects. But now it's like, no, this is the world of Toriyama. This is not just, his biggest thing and then everything else.
So it is... They're very careful, and I think they're very calculated with what they do. I mean, there's only so many times they could have, I guess, gone well with the movies, but I think the success of Dragon Ball Daima and really seeing how that kind of was still popular, despite it all. I mean, people are skeptical about Dragon Ball Daima because they're like, oh, this sounds like GT, which, wink, wink, we're going to be doing pretty soon. On the lookout. it's like a fake GT, but still the interest enough in it made people run towards it. Netflix was interested in it. Netflix was like, okay, let's pair up to really. But now I'm beginning to think like, yo, could Netflix once again? This would be a great get for Netflix.
Certainly. If you see like recently, Netflix got Battle of Gods. Like this is just gonna kind of be drip fed, where they're gonna. Is if you look at like Netflix's offerings for other countries like Japan, they've got all Dragon Ball stuff there.
Absolutely. So
makes sense that it's gonna be like that for the rest of the world eventually.
Do you think Toonami will get the TV rights for it, and then like
they will? Oh, definitely. They got Daima. You know what I mean? Even though Daima was streaming, they got Daima on TV months later. I feel like once the dub of this is available, right, we're gonna see the TV version come out, shortly thereafter.
It'll be interesting to see. While we're here, let's talk about, without doing too much spoilers, the Galactic Patrol arc in itself. Now, this is incredibly early. Could there be some changes to the arc that happen in the course of adapting this? Potentially. I would say more than likely.
Yeah.
It's never not happened. You know what I'm saying? They've never clearly, they haven't in a long time one-to-one adapted Dragon Ball Super. It's always some next shit.
Yeah. Because even the manga that followed the Super anime was different in some ways from the anime, right?
They were like, we're not doing that shit.
Yeah.
No, let's have Master Roshi fight.
They're like, no, we don't have
Master Roshi versus Jiren. You know what I'm saying?
Jiren.
Let's tap that in.
No. The one thing they didn't do in the manga, like, so I don't know if it's spoiler for real, but like the whole gods tournament, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they skipped that part.
Absolutely. So, we're here. 80, you covered Dragon Ball Super quite religiously on the Big Eyes podcast a number of years ago. If you had to summarize this arc without giving to any spoilers in terms of like what we can expect, what makes it exciting, the stage that it kind of sets, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as like this is what Super is really about. Like all the stuff beforehand was like a prologue, a precursor to what kind of story that Dragon Ball was trying to build up to, in my opinion, and what Super was really going towards. Kind of this bigger narrative about the future of things that have happened in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Can I talk about some of the details without going into spoilers? Like, yeah. So like, we get a little bit more about Angels. You know what I'm saying? It's the Galactic Patrol arc, so we get to see a little bit more of Jocko and the actual Galactic Patrol. We get to see Vegeta in a different light, and it is kind of focused more on him. There is a special moment with him and certain characters. One thing that they did bring up is Boo, the character that is always in the background and is asleep for practically a whole pregnancy, a whole trimester. You know what I'm saying? Like he actually gets to do a little something here. So there's some excitement for that. It's a whole lot in this, and I don't want to go into too much, but like, yeah, this is what Dragon Ball Super is. This is probably my favorite arc. This and the next arc are probably my two favorite arcs of Super.
I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more spoilery to that.
Go ahead. I wasn't trying to.
The arc surrounds it because I'm sure the trailer will do it. The trailer, like this evil wizard.
Yeah.
Evil. Now I'm sounding, because I've been watching GT all fucking day. Evil wizard returns from the dead. This evil wizard. This is what we know it as, right? Again, This is subject to change. So it's currently in production. A lot of things can happen between then and now. But I'll say in terms of the manga arc itself, the manga arc is centered around this evil wizard from the past that breaks free. And Goku and Vegeta join the Galactic Patrol, or at least are requested from the Galactic Patrol in order to rein in this wizard. But reining in this wizard proves a lot harder than initially expected because of this wizard's powers, you know. And
we just covered Lazarus.
Yeah. That's funny. There's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of adding to the lore. Dragon Ball Super, one thing it does is continue to add to the lore of things. Jay, how would you kind of describe things in this, or at least how you felt about this arc, especially just kind of as a whole, without spoilers, of course, super spoilers, you know?
Honestly, I would say the one thing we haven't touched on is how this invokes the Namek arc.
Yeah.
Early on, it has a great sense of callback to the Namek arc, especially with some actions of some characters, right? Mm-hmm. So it feels like it's in the same way that Daima was a continuation or a sequel to the Buu arc. This is in some ways is a sequel to Dragon Ball Z, with the things that it references to, with the way that it handles the characters within, with the way that it handles a lot of the action too. Mm-hmm. We're going to see some things in Dragon Ball that you've never seen before in this arc too, and in the battles. And that's what I'm really excited for is how this uses some modern anime styling in a lot of the fights at the end.
Ooh, yeah. The battles will get really big.
Yeah, the battles are gonna this is gonna feel like, oh, whoa, like this is Dragon Ball for the 2020s. Like this.
Yeah, Dragon Ball gets to step its hat in the ring and being like, you know what, we got some shit, you know.
Yeah, we got some different flavors. Yeah,
we started this shit when we first saw the fights in Dragon Ball Diamond. We were like, oh my god, wait a goddamn minute. It never crossed my brain that it was like, oh, this is for the 2020s and beyond, like the choreography. And it's like with additional knowledge of like, kind of like, again, knowledge of all the characters, how they fight, everything, but with new style animation and new style production, it makes it just like, they look better than, I mean, we talk about the end of Daima with the final fight. Again, looks incredible. Continues to move very, very well. The series moves very, very well. So,
but by the end of the Moro arc, you know, we're looking at bigger than just ki blasts and punches, and you know, like we're fighting on a scale that is very similar to modern anime types.
And not only just that, it's like, because we know that Dragon Ball Super was trying to get all the previous characters more involved, so it isn't just like the Goku, Vegeta, Gohan show. We actually do get like all the Dragon Warriors. It is actually the Z Warriors that get a moment to shine in this arc, and I think that's something that everybody should be excited for.
It is. I mean, the Galactic Patrol arc itself is just very. It's what everyone has wanted, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, as the series go on, I think people had varying thoughts about how this Galactic Patrol arc was going, especially considering it took so long. But again, it was a monthly release. Like, it takes of course, it's going to take like 2 years. But by the end of it, I think people were like, wow, this actually wrapped up really, really well. This felt like the arc it felt like an arc in Dragon Ball Z, and kind of like really adventure, different planets, kind of a story of being told of like setbacks and breaking past your limits and saving the Earth. I mean, when's the last time the Earth been in peril? You know what I'm saying? In Dragon Ball Super, I mean, the universe is in peril. Obviously, that's Super's entire thing. And now I'm watching GT again. It's like the galaxy, and I'm just like, we're bigger than that now. You know what I'm saying? We're bigger than that. So it's just very, very interesting. I'm super excited for this. This is one of the best. This is the best news I've heard all year, period.
And it's only January.
Yeah. It's only the end of January. Like and I mean, if we're even looking at announcements outside of the Dragon Ball, it's a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. I am hyped for multiple anniversary works that could be announced, multiple just like new things. Like, man, 2026 feels like 2016. When
we started off the year all right.
Yeah. 2016 was a big year for anime, and 2026 could be too.
So the timer went off, signaling, us to wrap this shit up. Because this is an emergency pod. It's not a full pod. You know what I'm saying? We can go for hours. What kind of final thoughts on things that are going on? There's currently an event going on as we speak. So maybe by the time you hear this, there'll probably be some more news. I'm hoping more manga news.
Manga continuation. We need it. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Come on. You just leaving us off on Black Frieza? Like, we just experienced Black Frieza, and Black Frieza goes missing for fucking years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we ain't heard about him since.
Hey man, just like you know what?
Just like a Black Frieza.
I just keep that to myself. But no, this has been amazing. This is the best news that we've heard. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you've already seen it on Twitter or socials. If you haven't seen it already, we will be starting Dragon Ball GT. It's just great divine timing, isn't it? Like, it's just with the 40th anniversary, 30th anniversary of GT, we're going back to GT and kind of like figuring this out and figuring out within the context of like everything that has happened and been released over the last 30 years. So it's like Dragon Ball GT for a long time was the end all be all, wrap it up. This is the end. We don't know how to feel about it, but ultimately it happened and it's a part of it. And then over the next course of the 30 years, it's like, well, is it, will it, does it, is it just, is Dragon Ball GT simply just a concept? But who knows? So we'll be covering that starting, I believe, February 3rd, on the lookout. Jay, you'll be joining us for one of these episodes, right?
Oh, for sure. You can expect me for Super 17. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Super 17, I got you penciled in.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be talking about it for the next, but thank you guys for tuning. Any final words before we get out of here? Any final words?
Dragon Ball's back.
There you go.
The limits have been broken. I feel re-energized. Raised my hands up to Kami. Now we've got a super giant spirit bomb waiting to be thrown on the earth in 2027. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. LJ, I'm sure super excited. We'll talk about it. I mean, we'll talk about more. I mean, hopefully, I don't know if more news will come out, but we'll talk about it more when we're actually back proper. So we'll definitely talk about it then. Shout out to LJ. Couldn't make it right now, but because of the emergency nature of this. Yeah. But we'll talk to him soon. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. This has been extremely fun. I love doing a good emergency pod on some Dragon Ball news. It fills all of our hearts as grown up, right? As grown up as Toonami kids and so much more. You know, Dragon Ball is good. It's like our own religion. So we follow it deeply. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time on the lookout. Peace.